Hi, we're going to be learning how to draw portraits after looking at artwork from the Baroque period. The Baroque period was known for its drama, its dramatic lighting, lights and darks, which we learned is chiaroscuro. Before we can jump into that, we need to learn a little bit about value, the darks and lights of things. When light is shining on an object, it creates a highlight, which is the lightest part, a general light, which is whatever the object's color might be or value, a shadow area, a core shadow, which is the very darkest at the edge, a reflective light, so you can see light bouncing off her shirt onto the shadow side of her face. And then a cast shadow. The nose is casting a shadow on her lips. So you're going to have several assignments. One is to shade a sphere using all 6 of those categories, and then learning the proportions of the face. When we draw a face, if you know your proportions, it is much easier than you think it would be. So let's start with the 6 categories of light. When looking at a sphere, and I drew one up here, you want to build up a background with pencil. You want to sketch very lightly a circle, or you can trace something. It can be in a small space, so this is only about half as big as my hand. Write down the 6 categories of light. So the first one is highlight. We're going to pick a light source. I already did. So light is coming from the left, just above it. And so the first category is the highlight. It's the lightest part, and on a sphere, it isn't right on the edge. It's off the top, so it's the highest part of the sphere. So here, her highlight, let's see without the shine of the magazine, we can see the highlight on her nose is not right on the edge of the nose, but on the rounded part of her nose. Then the general light, she has sort of a light brown skin color, is going to be number 2. So that one I'm going to take to the edge. I'm going to lightly draw a curve because this is a sphere. It's rounded. Okay? I don't want to do a straight line. That'll make it look flat. Then the third one is the shadow. So the shadow extends out away from the highlight. And I'm drawing the outlines, but eventually we're going to blend them together. A soft blend from light to dark, what's called sfumato. We learned that when we learned about the Renaissance. The fourth one is the core shadow. This is the deepest, darkest part of it. And I don't go all the way to edge because I need to leave room for number 5. That's the reflective light. Then the last one is cast shadow. The light is hitting the sphere and it is casting a shadow. The shadow is laying down on the table, so it's a foreshortened sphere. So we're not looking at a circle, we're looking at an ellipse or an oval shape laying on the table. So this is going to be on a diagram that you can follow along. Okay, so first I'm going to start the shading. I want to build up slowly. You can use a number 2 pencil. So this says soft, number 2. It shouldn't be harder than that. I think mechanical pencils can be kind of hard to shade with or blend with, but some of them are softer lead, just as long as it's soft enough to blend. So I'm shading around the sphere and slowly building up my value. So this would be general light. This isn't a white ball. It might be a light gray ball. So that's highlight 1, general light 2, and it starts to slowly turn into the shadow. So I'm building up the next layer, curving around the sphere and getting just a little bit darker as I get away from my highlight. I'm doing it first in bands so you can see it, but then the goal will be to get darker and darker as I'm going away and not see those stripes. All right, that's number 3, the shadow. The core shadow then is the darkest, and I'm going to start at the edge away from the light, go pretty dark, maybe not as dark as the background, and then slowly shade back into my shadow area. I don't want to see a line. A lot of times I'll squint my eyes at it to see it better. Then I come in and get rid of this line. I'm shading in between. So now I don't really see stripes. I see highlight and shadow. Sometimes I'll use an eraser to kind of soften this edge so you can actually draw with the eraser, okay? So the goal is that you don't see a change from the highlight to the core shadow. The last one here on the sphere is 5, the reflective light. Light bounces off the tabletop and hits the shadow. It's not as bright as the tabletop, so I'm going to just shade it a little bit. And then 6 is a cast shadow, which is on the tabletop. So I'm going to get in there and really darken right at the edge of the sphere and then fade off. But I don't want it. You can see the shadow of my hand on the book. It's sort of soft on the edge. I actually have 2 light sources, so I have 2 shadows. But you can see how dark it is right at the tip, and then it kind of fades out. So that's what I want my cast shadow to look like. I'm going to go just a little darker at the core shadow. Slowly make it a little darker, and then blending to a medium value, to a lighter value, and to the highlight. So this is called the 6 categories of light. If I were to number the light, I'd give this a 1 for the paper. The dark would be a 10. And then I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then this background would be 10 values. Okay? The next thing I want to look at is when we see those shadows on here, on the portrait, we have the highlight. There's the highlight on her nose. We have the general light. There's a general light on her nose. We have the shadow. So that edge, you really do have a sphere on the end of your nose. Then there's the core shadow right before the edge. There's a beautiful reflective light on the bottom of her nose and the cast shadow on her lips. But before we can do a face, let's look at the proportions. So you're going to be just following along on this video. This will be one assignment, the 6 categories of light and drawing a sphere. The second one will be the proportions of the face. So we'll do that one together. I'm going to make this video, the 6 categories of light, and post it on the assignment. So I'll see you in just a minute.